2026 will be the most expensive year of Pokemon Go ever. Between new features, raids with Pokemon with shinies, special backgrounds, exclusive returns, and all of the paid ticket events, there is just an infinite amount of things to spend your money on. So I wanted to give you 26 tips for Pokemon Go 2026 to go free to play. Because although I think spending an infinite amount of money will get you a lot of cool things in Pokemon Go, you can still do a lot, have a lot, and enjoy the game without spending anything. Here's how. If you're gonna spend coins, only really spend them on storage upgrades and raid passes. The reason why you want to focus on things like storage upgrades for your Pokemon and for your inventory is because they're one of the few permanent things you can spend money on. So if you interact with the gym system and earn a bunch of free Pokecoins, it is really, really useful to use them on your inventory and your item bag, your Pokemon inventory and item bag storage. Because again, those upgrades stay forever, where like a raid pass will be gone after you use it. And even though storage technically doesn't like help you catch more shiny cool Pokemon, we all know how annoying it is to only have like 3 spaces remaining on your Pokemon inventory and continuously having to like transfer Pokemon out and make room for it. It just makes the gameplay experience way more fun, way more comfortable, and you can collect way more things if you have more storage. And I know I said raid passes, but let's go to tip number 2, because what you'll want to not do is buy single raid passes. Instead of doing that, use your Pokecoins on things like the raid pass bundles or specific boxes that come to the shop every so often. Now, to do this, you will have to save up more Pokecoins and buy 3 raid passes at a time instead of 1 at a time, but you're gonna get way more value for your Pokecoins. And how do you get Pokecoins? Tip number 3, defend gyms every single day. There is only one way to get free Pokecoins in Pokemon Go, and it is using the gym system. How it basically works is you put your Pokemon into a gym of your same team, and you let it sit inside the gym and defend. The longer the Pokemon sits in the gym, the more Pokecoins it generates, and it can generate up to 50 Pokecoins per day you can claim. This is difficult though, because in order to claim the Pokecoins that you get from a Pokemon defending a gym, that Pokemon needs to be knocked out of the gym. So it's helpful to have another person or another account with another team so that you can knock your Pokemon out of the gym when they've collected the maximum amount of Pokecoins that they can get, which again is 50. And by the way, that's a big tip, is you can earn 50 Pokecoins per day if you're very strategic about it. Tip 4, although Stardust is free, you're gonna wanna use it intelligently and power up Pokemon that can cover multiple roles. Like Tyranitar, for example, which is a top rock type and a top dark type at the same time, and has a mega evolution form that is extremely useful and helpful. Or Mamoswine, which covers ice. It's one of the best ice type attackers in the game, and it's also a pretty good ground type attacker if you need it to be. Pokemon with multiple uses will help you as a free-to-play player cover way more of the game without having to spend a bunch of money, because people like me who just swipe the credit card, it could be a pure rock type, a pure grass type, whatever, I'm gonna rate it. But I have a lot of Pokemon that are only good for like one thing, and I probably spent too much money getting them. So to be really efficient, go after Pokemon that are useful in multiple scenarios and situations. Tip 5, don't chase every new shiny. The primary business plan behind the game that is Pokemon Go is built on what's called FOMO, or the fear of missing out. They release things during exclusive events, or there's like, regionals that you can get. There's raid bosses with cool shinies and backgrounds. They want you to look at something in game and want it so bad, need to get it to the point where you're willing to spend money on that. That's how the game economically and psychologically works. So if you want to play free to play, you're gonna have to give up certain things, like getting the newest shiny the moment it comes out. It might take you a couple of months or a year or 2 to get a certain shiny, but that needs to be okay. Also, as of lately, there have not been that many great shinies released into Pokemon Go. And if we've learned anything, if a shiny gets released once and it's super rare and hard to get, it's gonna come back in the future and be very, very easy to get, whether it's through a community day event, a regular just event happening in Pokemon Go, a spotlight hour, a Go Fest. There will always be free ways to find cool, exclusive, rare shiny Pokemon. And kind of a cool thing that's been happening lately that seems to be a permanent feature of all new Pokemon Go events is every time there's an event, they always boost the shiny rates of like 1 or 2 Pokemon that typically spawn in the wild. So you don't need every new shiny. Don't feel like you need to get it. They will come back, and there will be more and cheaper ways to get them. Tip 6 is obvious. Use your free daily raid pass. In Pokemon Go, this is a very generous thing. Every single day, you get one free raid pass. You just have to go up to a gym and spin the Pokestop part of the gym, and you receive your free raid pass. And then you can use that to go do an in-person raid. You do not get a remote raid pass, so you have to do an in-person raid. But these are so useful. And think about it. Like, if you did, let's do some quick math, right? Your free raid pass, you used it on a legendary raid once a day in a month, or 4 weeks, a month, 30 days, 28 days, whatever. In a month, you'd have 30 legendaries that you didn't have before, and you didn't have to pay for any of them. That makes a big difference over months or, years, because we all play this game for a long time. So those, those incremental boosts of like one free legendary a day makes a big difference over the long run. So use that daily free raid pass and keep an eye out, because sometimes we'll get 2 free daily raid passes. Typically that ends up happening as part of either like a very special event or as part of the seasons in Pokemon Go, where we get, which is like every 3 months, it's it's the quarters, right? Seasons, quarters, whatever. We'll get like a special bonus for the season. So for 3 months, we'll get like extra candy when trading, or this or that, or 2 free raid passes per day. We've had that before, so keep an eye out for that. Tip 7, save your premium items for big events. Big events are like community day events, which happen once a month, Go Fests, Go Tours, Wild Areas, these like very, very big events that have huge bonuses, big Pokemon spawns, like all of that kind of stuff. You want to save your premium items, which are raid passes, remote raid passes if you can only hold a couple at a time, incense, Stardust, lucky eggs, these kinds of things. Save for when there's a reason to use them. Don't just use them for funsies. Wait for the big events and then use your utility, I guess you could call it, then. Because, for example, community day events have had really great bonuses the last year. So if you need more XP because you want to level up, wait for a community day event to come around that gives 2 or 3 times XP for catching Pokemon, and then use your lucky eggs that you've been saving to basically run up all that free XP during an event. Or maybe you're buying raid passes every time you get enough. You farm gyms, you get a bunch of Pokecoins, you buy a raid pass bundle, and then you stack a bunch of raid passes in your account, wait to use them for an event where boosted shiny rates are happening, or there's really cool legendaries in the raids that you want. Save the special items, use them for the big events. Number 8, fast catch, quick catch. I know this is kind of like a weird free-to-play tip, but quick catching is going to help you so much in Pokemon Go, because if you're free to play, it means your progress is slowed down, and what you can get is technically a little bit less, and how far you can get is less and slower. And that's the whole point with these free-to-play mobile games, is that you pay for speed and you pay for efficiency, right? So if you're not going to be paying for that, you're going to want to use every trick in the book that's free, that's going to help you progress faster and gain more and still load your account up without having to spend money. And a big thing is quick catching, which is basically just, well, it'll be on screen, but there's a whole strategy behind quick catching, where you hold your thumb on the berry or the Pokeball button, you throw the ball, you swipe it. You know what? We'll have a thing on screen that explains how to do it. Tip 9, Mega Evolve before catching raid bosses. I talk about this all the time, but the Mega Pokemon system in Pokemon Go is one of the most OP and most useful, and most people just don't interact with it. Basically how this works is, if you have a Mega Pokemon, when you evolve it, it levels up its Mega level. It has 3 stages of Mega level, and you have to basically Mega Evolve a Mega Pokemon once per day for 90 days, and then it gets to max level Mega. And at max level, you get a bunch of great bonuses like extra candy, extra XL candy when catching Pokemon, more XP for catching Pokemon of the same typing. The bonuses are really, really good. And I always give this tip, but legendary Pokemon are the most expensive things in the entire game, which means legendary Pokemon candy is the most expensive candy to get. So using a Mega Pokemon to boost the amount of candy that you get when catching legendaries is one of the most cost-efficient things that you can do in Pokemon Go. So if you're a free-to-play player and you're not spending on raids, or you don't want to spend that much on raids, you're gonna want to get Mega Pokemon and Mega Evolve them and use those Mega Pokemon, the boost from it, to get more candies. So let's say you're going after Articuno in raids, which is an Ice type. You're gonna wanna Mega Evolve an Ice type Mega and have it actively Mega Evolved like Abomasnow, and you're going to want to keep it Mega Evolved while you're catching the Articuno, because while your Mega Abomasnow is actively Mega Evolved, that's when those bonuses turn on for Ice-type Pokemon. So if you're catching Ice-type Pokemon with an Ice-type Mega Evolved, you're going to get more candy and XL candy, especially if you get that Mega Pokemon to max level Mega. And the cool thing in Pokemon Go is that you can get Mega Energy by walking a Pokemon. You do not have to raid to get Mega Energy. You just have to walk a Pokemon as your buddy, and you can get a bunch of free Mega Energy, more than you'll need in order to do this strategy efficiently. Tip 10, use the Dynamax feature. The Dynamax and Gigantamax feature in Pokemon Go is it's kind of an odd thing, because it is one of the most expensive features you can interact with, because if you want to grind Gigantamax raids, you're going to have to buy remote raid passes and max particle packs, and maybe even max mushrooms in order to take these battles down efficiently. But it's also one of the most beneficial features for free-to-play players. It's kind of like it lives on both extremes. And the reason why is if you're a free-to-play player, you can get a certain amount of max particles for free every single day. And raids, or Dynamax raids, require max particle packs in order to battle up against. The nice thing, though, is that if you do a raid in person, I don't think you use a raid pass on a Dynamax raid. I think you just use max particles. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me on screen, Reese, but I'm pretty sure. But if you wanted to remote raid a Dynamax raid, you have to use a remote raid pass and max particles. Right? Am I right? I might be wrong. Okay, for my quick research, it's funny, I should know this. This is the 10th year of Pokemon Go. I should know everything. I understand. But I'm pretty sure to join a Dynamax raid in person, you just need max particles. So you don't need raid passes in order to battle up against raid bosses. And you can get a certain amount of max particles for free. And the bonuses that you get from Dynamax and Gigantamax raids are kind of insane. We're talking a lot of XP, a lot of Stardust, candies. It's a really, really good system. It gives a ton of bonuses, and it gives really great Pokemon that you could use in Dynamax and Gigantamax raids, or in PvP, or in raids like regular and normal raids. It's a really, really great system for free-to-play players. Tip 11, use your daily incense. Every single day you have what's called the daily adventure incense, which gives you 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes an hour of a free incense. And that's great for a couple of reasons. One, it's a free incense. In Pokemon Go, you have to pay to use an incense, but your daily incense is free. And more free, the merrier. So that's the great thing. Number two, you can get some very cool and very rare spawns on your daily incense that a normal incense can't spawn, like Chimecho, which has very high Stardust for catching, or Sneasel, which has very high shiny rates. Or, the third big reason, you can get free legendary Pokemon on your free daily incense. And this is actually the only way to get free legendary Pokemon in Pokemon Go on a consistent basis, other than PvP. So if you don't want a PvP, it's your daily incense. But the 3 Galarian legendary birds, which can spawn shiny, only spawn on the daily incense. And yes, they're free, but they're very rare, hard to find, and hard to catch. 12, trade often. Trading in Pokemon Go is honestly one of the most overpowered features. And again, not many people use it because it's slow, it's kind of annoying, and not everybody has people to trade with. But it's free. You can trade up to 100 Pokemon per day. You get candy, and sometimes XL candy, depending on the monthly bonuses for trading. And when you trade a Pokemon with someone, the IVs re-roll. So they could give you a very, very bad Larvitar, but once the trade completes, the IVs of the Larvitar could actually turn into a perfect 100% IV Larvitar, and now you have 100% IV Tyranitar, which is one of the most useful things you can get in the game, all for free just because you traded. And again, you can trade once per day, and the big thing with trading is it's the only way to get what's called lucky Pokemon. And lucky Pokemon require significantly less Stardust to power up, which is great because if you're a free-to-play player, Stardust is probably going to be kind of hard to come by because it's easy to get if you do a lot of raids, if you buy star pieces, like that's easy for Stardust. But if you're free to play or you don't want to spend that much, Stardust is very, very valuable, and powering up the right Pokemon is very important. So if you trade great Pokemon on a daily basis, you're going to get a lot of very high IV or perfect Pokemon for free from trading, and some of them might be lucky, which means they'll be even cheaper to power up and to use. Really, really great system, especially for free-to-play players. Tip 13, don't max everything. In Pokemon Go, you can power up a Pokemon to level 40 using regular candies for the Pokemon. And then if you want to power up the Pokemon even more to level 50, you have to use what's called XL candies. They're much harder to get, they're rare, They're difficult, but they do get a Pokemon to level 50, which means it's like the biggest most powerful, greatest version of the Pokemon. The thing is, though, you don't need level 50 Pokemon in Pokemon Go, for one. And for two, if you want level 50 Pokemon, you gotta be picky and choosy with the ones that you use, especially if you're free to play. It's very hard to get XL candies, so you don't want to just use them on anything willy-nilly. It's better to save the XL candies and wait until you have a perfect Pokemon or a near perfect Pokemon to use them on. And of course, you really only want to use your XL candies on meta-relevant Pokemon, right? Or meta-relevant versions of Pokemon, like Shadows or good IVs. 14, stack research rewards. What this basically means is when you go out and do a field research task and you encounter a Pokemon from field research, you can flee from that Pokemon encounter and it will stay in your account at the top of your field research tab. And then you can re-encounter all of those Pokemon all at the same time. So a very strategic way to do this, especially if you're free to play, is by getting a bunch of encounters of a specific Pokemon, let's say Shelder, which gives you more Stardust when you catch it. If there's an event where Shelder is in field research encounters, you want to go out, you want to find a bunch of Shelder in the field research, encounter it, flee it, stack because you can only stack 100 encounters, by the way. Stack 100 Shelder encounters in your little stack, and then when there's an event like a community day that gives you extra Stardust for catching Pokemon, then you just want to catch all of those Shelder in your field research task and get a bunch of bonus Stardust. That is what stacking research rewards means, and it helps a lot, especially if you're free to play. 15, only use star pieces during Stardust events. This seems very obvious, but I'll give you a couple of tips on when to use a star piece. Every single month, there are what's called spotlight hours. Every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. local time, there's a Spotlight Hour event, which means there's one specific Pokemon that will spawn everywhere in the wild, and during that 1 hour, there's one specific bonus. Every single month, during one of the Tuesdays, there's always a 2 times Stardust bonus, which basically means you get double Stardust for catching Pokemon in the wild. So if you want to use your star pieces that you're getting from, you're getting from wherever you get them, your what is that thing called? The Go Pass or your free Pokécoin purchases, whatever. Use your star piece during that event so that you're getting even more Stardust for catching, or wait for a community day event that comes around that has like 2 or 3 times Stardust for catching Pokemon, then use your star pieces. Save those star pieces, they're very valuable. Tip 16. Field research. Field research is one of the greatest ways to play Pokemon Go when you're completely free to play. And basically what it is just going out into the wild, spinning a Pokestop, and that Pokestop will give you a field research task, which is basically just a task to complete in Pokemon Go. And by completing it, you get a reward. You can hold up to 3 field research tasks at a time, and it can give you a ton of great things like Pokeballs, Great Balls, revives, potions, sometimes evolution items, mega energy, and encounters with really, really great and sometimes very rare Pokemon. And sometimes Pokemon that you can only get from raids, you can also get in the field research. And the cool thing with the field research is that it changes with every single event in Pokemon Go. There's always new things to do in the field research. So it's really important to stay up to date, to know what's in the field research when you're grinding it, and to go out and basically play for what you need. Because again, field research, 100% free. Tip 17, PvP. Listen, I don't PvP, but you should, especially if you want to play free to play or you don't want to spend that much in Pokemon Go, because PvP is completely free to play and it is currently the #1 way to farm Stardust in Pokemon Go. Now, it helps if you're using star pieces when you get big season-ending rewards, blah, 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 blah. Either way, PvP is really, really great for free-to-play players because not only do you get Stardust, it's the best way to get Stardust, but also as you climb the ranks in PvP, the potential encounters that you can get from the reward tracks get better and better and better. We're talking bigger, cooler, more meta-relevant Pokemon, and yes, you can get free legendary encounters from PvP once you reach a certain level. All you have to do is just reach rank 20 in PvP in the Go Battle League, and then when you encounter the win rewards, it could be potentially whatever the current tier 5 raid boss is in Pokemon Go. The spawn rates for it are kind of low, so you're probably gonna have to do a lot of attempts in order to get a free legendary, but you can get free legendaries. Again, this is the only way to get free legendaries in Pokemon Go is by doing PvP. Technically there's a third way, which is a newer way, which I'll explain later. 18, Shadow Pokemon. Shadow Pokemon are also a really cool free-to-play dynamic in Pokemon Go, where basically you go out, you find Pokestops where Team Rocket is hanging out at, and you battle them, and then you defeat them, and then you get to catch Shadow Pokemon. The cool thing with this feature is, A, you get a balloon every 6 hours, so a Team Rocket balloon will just spawn on your location every 6 hours that you can just get. B, there's actually a lot of reasons why the whole Team Go Rocket thing is insane. B, Shadow Pokemon are actually some of the most useful and highest damage dealing Pokemon in the entire game. Some of the most meta relevant Pokemon are Shadow Pokemon, and you can get them for free by battling Team Rocket. Another reason why it's amazing is that Shadow Pokemon can be purified, and when you purify a Shadow Pokemon, it gives +2 onto each and every IV stat. So if you get lucky enough to catch a Shadow Pokemon that has 13 IVs, you can purify it and get a 100% IV Pokemon. Now, you probably shouldn't do that because Shadow Pokemon do a lot more damage than normal Pokemon, but let's say you get a 13 Shadow Larvitar, and you really want to have a Mega Tyranitar that's 100% IV. Well, you purify the Larvitar, and then you can Mega Evolve the purified version into a Mega Tyranitar, but you can't Mega Evolve Shadow Pokemon. You also can't trade Shadow Pokemon, so some things to know around them. But they're very, very useful, and they're free to get. And the cool thing as well is that there are regular Team Go Rocket grunts, and there are team leaders. And to do a team leader battle, which gives you a chance at a potentially Shadow Shiny Pokemon, the team leaders typically will have more meta-relevant ones like Shadow Larvitar or Shadow Bagon, things like that, Shadow Machop, the team leaders will have. You can battle, I think it's 6 Team Go Rocket grunts, so the normal Team Go Rocket grunts, which will give you these like, what are they even called? Dude, I haven't grinded this in a while. Basically, it's how you get a Rocket Radar. They'll give you pieces of a Rocket Radar, and then once you battle enough grunts, you'll be able to complete the full piece and create a Rocket Radar that you can then turn on, use, and go out and find team leaders with. So the team leaders, you can also buy Rocket Radars, which is what I typically do, but you can beat Team Go Rocket grunts and just get the Rocket Radars for free. It takes a little bit more time and more grind, but you can still get it for free and then go out and find potentially Shadow Shiny Pokemon that can become Shundos, that can become super meta relevant. Like the Shadow Pokemon feature in Pokemon Go is great, especially for free to play. The only thing though is that Shadow Pokemon cost a lot more candy and Stardust, like a lot more Stardust to power up. So you'll want to be very careful when powering Shadow Pokemon up. 19, use Campfire. There's a feature baked into Pokemon Go called Campfire, which allows you to team up with your local community and also find raids across your city and a bunch of other cool things and meetups and events. If you're free to play in Pokemon Go, it's going to be very important to do a lot of like in-person stuff because, you know, if you want to use the free raid passes, you have to go in person. If you want to do the Dynamax battles, you have to go in person. If you want to go catch Pokemon, you have to go out and catch Pokemon in person, right? So if you're free to play, it's going to be really important to do in-person stuff, and Campfire will help you find things like raids, and it's going to be important to basically play with other trainers because you're going to need help taking raid bosses down, legendary raid bosses down in person, and it'll be nice to find people to trade with because trading is very, very important. So Campfire allows you to find raids, local groups, and everything. It's a really, really helpful tool for connecting with your local community who can help you in your free-to-play journey. Tip 20 is saving rare candies. Rare candies are things that you get from research, defeating like legendary raids or normal raids. Sometimes you get them from special events. There are items that you can use to get a candy for any Pokemon. So let's say I had 500 rare candy and I wanted to put them into Mewtwo. I would just do that and then I would have 500 Mewtwo candy. You know, that's a rare candy. They're rare though, hence the name, and hard to find, but they're very useful because in Pokemon Go, if you're free to play, you probably are not going to farm much legendary candy. So if you want to power up a legendary Pokemon that you have that's very meta relevant, you can use rare candies to help you do that. So that you don't have to like spend a bunch of money battling the legendary. You also get rare candies from completing legendary raids, so you can just get like 2 times the candy to, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like very strategic to save rare candies for legendary Pokemon specifically and use them on legendaries if you're free to play, because legendary candy is the hardest and most expensive to come by. And what I would highly recommend as well is saving the rare candy for Pokemon with adventure effects. So we're talking Palkia with Spatial Rend, we're talking Black Kyurem with Freeze Shock. These adventure effects make playing Pokemon Go much easier and much more fun, and they require candy for legendary Pokemon, or from legendary Pokemon, in order to use. So saving your rare candy and then using it on Pokemon with adventure effects is going to help you a ton. And it's what I do, and I'm not free to play, and I still do that. 21, don't miss community days. These are the best events in Pokemon Go history for free-to-play players, because the thing about being free to play, what it really makes, what it really like limits you on are the exciting things like shiny Pokemon, Stardust, XP, like these big in-game metrics is what spending money on Pokemon Go gets you. But for community day events, it's the easiest day to get shiny Pokemon. So if you're free to play, just fill up on community day shinies, which a lot of them become very meta relevant. So they're great for that. They're great for XP gain and Stardust gain, because there's always boosts on things like XP and Stardust during Com Day. The event bonuses have been so good the last year. Like I said earlier, Com Days are probably the single best event you can play that happens on a consistent basis as a free-to-play player. If you're gonna not miss like one day a month, don't miss community day. Tip 22, do your Go Pass. Pokemon Go more kind of recently introduced a new feature called the Go Pass, and there's two different sides of it. There's the free side and then the paid side. Of course, the paid side has like a lot more premium rewards and premium encounters, and typically it will have items like the lucky trinket or the golden bottle cap, like these very, very useful, very premium items. But they're typically kind of expensive, so if you're free to play, don't even worry about it. But what the Go Pass can give you as a free to play player is XP, Stardust, encounters with very cool and rare Pokemon, a bunch of very useful items, and this is the third way to consistently get free legendary Pokemon. Because in the Go Pass, the 100th reward is kind of always an encounter with a legendary Pokemon. Now, sometimes you have to pay to get the premium version of the Go Pass to get the legendary encounter, but sometimes you get the legendary encounter for free, and what you're paying for is like an item, like the lucky trinket or something. So if you want more free legendaries, the Go Pass happens once a month. Every single month there's a new Go Pass with a bunch of new amazing rewards, which you can unlock just by playing Pokemon Go for free, and sometimes you'll get a legendary encounter for free too, which is very, very useful, because again, legendary Pokemon, super expensive. It's great to get as many free ones as you can. So do not miss your Go Pass. Tip 23, adventure effects. I talked about it earlier, but adventure effects in Pokemon Go are like the single most efficient way to play the game, and they can maybe not save you money, but they can make the money that you have spread a lot further. Specifically, two of the adventure effects, which are the only ones that I use. One is Spatial Rend. So if you have an Origin Form Palkia with whatever the exclusive move is on it, you'll also get the adventure effect Spatial Rend. And what Spatial Rend does is it doubles the spawn radius of Pokemon around you. So you can basically see 2 times the amount of Pokemon per usual. And again, if you're free to play, right, you're probably not buying incense all the time, like you're not spending on raid passes or egg hatches, like you're really counting on wild spawns to fuel your Pokemon Go journey as a free-to-play player. So doubling the amount of wild spawns that you get doubles your gameplay. Like, it's great, and it's even better, especially for events like Community Day, where there's higher shiny rates, where there's, you know, more XP or Stardust for catching Pokemon. Like, you get way more bang for your buck when you use Spatial Rend, the adventure effect on Palkia. And to use that, by the way, you need Stardust and Palkia candy. So when you use your rare candies, that's what I was saying earlier, it's great to use them and just like dump rare candies into Palkia or into Kyurem, which I'll talk about next, which I think is equally as useful. But Palkia is definitely one of the adventure effects that I would highly recommend using, especially if you're free to play. And you can do that by using your free raid pass whenever Palkia is back, or using your free raid pass every day to get a legendary raid completed, and then taking the rare candies that you get from the legendary raid and just putting it into Palkia. You also get rare candies from, I think, the Go Pass too, so you can just take those, put them into Palkia. So that's very useful. And then the other one I like a lot, the most honestly, is Freeze Shock on Black Kyurem. And the reason why I like this so much is because it makes catching legendary Pokemon infinitely easier. And again, legendary Pokemon are some of the most expensive Pokemon to catch in-game. They have the most expensive candy in Pokemon Go. When you defeat a legendary in a raid and you're a free-to-play player, it is so important that you catch that legendary Pokemon. Otherwise, you just wasted your free raid for the day. You know, you don't want that, right? So to help you do that, you can just activate Freeze Shock, which lasts for 5-10 minutes, You want to make sure that it lasts as long as you need it to so that you have it when the encounter starts. But you want to activate Free Shock, which does two things. One, it brings the base catch rate of the Pokemon up, which means the legendary Pokemon will be easier to catch. Number two, it acts as an infinite Nanab berry, which means the Pokemon will not dodge while you're trying to catch it, which means you're going to be able to hit Excellence very easily on that legendary Pokemon because it won't be dodging, and the catch rate will be higher, which means the likelihood of you actually catching the Pokemon after hitting an Excellent is much higher, which means you're going to get way more bang for your buck when you defeat legendary raids because you'll actually be able to catch legendaries. Now, again, this does require Kyurem candy. It can be kind of expensive to use, and it's way better to use if you're like doing a bunch of raids at once, which you can get on specific weekend events where you get like 5 or 9 free raid passes in the day, but that's a whole nother thing. But the adventure effects, really useful. 24, use the buddy system. The buddy system is basically setting a Pokemon as your buddy and then walking with it. And the great thing about buddies in Pokemon Go is that, which I talked about earlier with Mega Pokemon, when you walk a Pokemon, you'll earn candy and XL candy, and you'll earn Mega Energy for that Pokemon. Like 3 really, really important big things, super duper useful things in Pokemon Go. So doing this for Pokemon that for example, like if you need more Mega Energy for Tyranitar, but you don't want to use your free raid passes on Tyranitar raids, instead of doing that, just walk a Larvitar or walk a Tyranitar and you'll earn a certain amount of Mega Energy while you walk it, along with candy, and yes, you can get XL candy from walking a Pokemon. So if you want more Kyurem candy because you want to use the adventure effect more, walk your Kyurem and you'll get free candy and XL candy for it. It is important to note, though, for legendaries, it takes 20 kilometers to earn 1 candy, but if you have Adventure Sync on, if you run a lot, or you really just keep Adventure Sync on, you will generate kilometers naturally as you go about your daily life, especially if you get a lot of steps in, which you should because it's healthy for you. But all of that kind of like adds up and gets you those extra free candies. And again, that makes a big difference like over a year, or over a couple of months of playing. So really, really great to use the buddy system. Tip 25 is prioritize Pokemon that stay relevant. In Pokemon Go, there's always new Pokemon that come out, and whenever a new Pokemon comes out, it might shake up the meta and it might be good, and then it's bad in the future and it's all over the place, or there's a new Pokemon that's very cool and it's kind of useful, and then there's Pokemon that just don't get old, that never become irrelevant. These are Pokemon like Metagross for the Steel-type Pokemon, Mewtwo for Psychic-type Pokemon, Gengar for Ghost-type Pokemon, Venusaur for Grass-type, Charizard for Fire-type. Pokemon like these, or Tyranitar for Rock and for Dark-type, Rayquaza for Dragon-type. Like, Pokemon like these have always been relevant since the day they came out, and they will always be relevant. Even if new Pokemon come out that are better than them, they'll always still be great. So when you want to power a certain Pokemon up, or, use your daily raid passes on certain legendaries, I would highly recommend doing some research on what the best Pokemon are for each typing, and building these teams of good, I guess you would say, evergreen Pokemon. And the examples that I gave are great examples. Charizard has been around forever, and it's Gen 1. We all have a ton of it, and there's always Charmander spawns during specific events. But things like, Charizard, which has a Mega, Venusaur, which has a Mega, like, these are very important. Tyranitar, Mewtwo, like the Metagross, the Rhyperior is really great because Rhyhorn is, like, free and easy to find. These kind of Pokemon are really, really good to hunt, to put Stardust and rare candies into, and to just build teams around, because they'll always be useful and they don't really require a ton of money. And tip 26 is to play the long game. As I keep saying, incremental progress makes such a big difference in Pokemon Go, and it's kind of a lesson for life. Like if you go to the gym every day and you eat healthy every day, and you don't like how you look, in 6 months you're gonna look way different if you stay consistent, and in a year you'll be a completely different person. Like, that's how like reality works. Not to get too philosophical. Can't even say the word. That's how reality works. That's how Pokemon Go works. If you use your free raid pass every single day, in 6 months, your account is going to look completely different. In a year, it's going to look completely different. If you focus on, playing Community Day every single month, and playing the Tuesday night spotlight events every single week, and you just prioritize these like little wins as the months and the days and the weeks and the years go by, your account is going to grow like crazy without spending any money. So playing the long game in Pokemon Go is important, because this is an evergreen game. There is no end game, and Pokemon Go will never let this game die. So we'll all be playing it. This is the 10th year of Pokemon Go, and we'll probably all still be playing at some capacity 10 years from now. There'll still be new things to do and new features, and this game will last forever, so play the long game. And if you want even more advice, tips, and tricks, check out these other videos on screen. I'll see you in there, and thank you so much for watching, and good luck on your 2026 journeys.